It is Monday, March 18th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at Factor. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. Hopefully you had a great St. Patty's Day weekend, my friend.
I did. For me, it was more of the St. Olivia
Mm.
weekend. We got to celebrate my beautiful bride, her 35th birthday. And man, honestly, one of the better days I've had in a long time. So it was a lot of fun. I had a great weekend, Chris. I'm still battling a sickness. I'm on a steroid now and a new antibiotic though, so I should be feeling better at some point this week.
Well, the good news is we don't test here at John Boy Media, so don't worry about that. You should be good. You're going to look like the old days where you were like 30 pounds heavier than you are. So emaciated these days.
I tested at Magna Quantum Studios. We do test, and I tested. Yep, I'm still sexy as ever. So
yes, you are. There's no question about it. Part of the reason you're so sexy is because you've been feasting on those Factor meals. Because eating better has never been easier thanks to Factor. Ready-to-eat meals, every fresh, never frozen meal, chef-crafted, it's dietitian approved. It's ready to go in just 2 minutes. Take that fork, poke a couple holes, throw it in the microwave, and off you go. You'll have over 35 different options to choose from each and every week. That includes Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, plus there are more than 60 add-on goodies just to keep you belly nice and full throughout the day. Also, they can get your day started with the perfect things. So it's good. So head on over to factormeals.com/baseball50. You get code baseball50. You're going to get half off. That is factormeals.com/baseball50. What are you laughing at?
Well, you're pretty good at reading ads, but whenever there's a food ad, you're just better. And I think that says a little something about you. You love that food.
Yes, I do, because it gets in my belly. And don't forget about our Factor question of the week. That'll be coming your way on Thursday's show. So that means get it in by Wednesday. That way we can read it, we can make you famous, and it'll change your life forever. Welcome back to the show, Joey Votto. You know, he signed that minor league deal with his hometown team, the Toronto Blue Jays. This isn't really a topic. We just want to give him credit because on the first pitch he saw all spring from Zach Wheeler, he goes, Oppo, I get it, Phillies broadcast. I don't think it was out either. That's really not the point. It was just awesome to see him go do that.
Yeah, I mean, it was not a home run. It hit off the wall. You could clearly see that. But to do that off Zach Wheeler, your first pitch, I mean, a little bit of an ambush fastball right there. Wheeler was like, no way this guy's swinging first pitch. Joey's like, gotcha, which is exactly why he's so awesome. He plays the game, people. It's great to see Joey. And he looks great in the uniform, Chris.
He does. 37 looked a little odd, but that's okay. We'll get him some different number when he does finally get up to the show. All right, Bob Nightingale has kind of been all over the place on this Blake Snell story.
No.
Yeah, I know. I'm not ripping on the guy. I'm just saying, one second it's this way, 37 seconds later it's this. He said the Astros were interested in a short-term deal, but they balked at the $30 million AAV asking price. So Nightingale now says that the Giants are the front runner for the two-time Cy Young Award winner. The question I've got for you, do you think that Blake Snell throws a major league pitch by May 1st?
It's actually a really good line there, Chris. I will say it's March 18th right now. I will say yes. I almost went the other way, but I can't. The reason I say that is I like the Giants pursuing Logan Webb, Blake Snell, 1-2 will be awesome. But I found another team that I think is going to step in here and sign Blake Snell. I just did this on Talking Baseball, so bear with me, people, if you've listened to both of these. What's stopping teams from signing Blake Snell right now? Mostly it's the money, people not wanting to go over their next competitive balance tax threshold. It might be the draft picks, which, there's a qualifying offer attached. So they don't want to give those up. Maybe the international slot money that you're going to have to give up. So there are some things working against Blake, but there's one organization that I don't think cares about any of that stuff, to be honest with you. And he's already played for them, C. Rosie, and that is the Tampa Bay Rays. If he reportedly he's asking, listen, let me tell you what. If he's asking for 2 years, 66 with an opt-out, Tampa could easily do that. Not go over the next threshold. They don't care about draft picks. You know that for them as an organization. Go look at their roster. It kind of makes sense for me. Go back there and do it. So I think that now that I've shifted away from the big market teams and he's going to be with the Yankees and he's going to be with whatever. I think there are teams that now are seeing this price tag and the low amount of years that he's asking for. And I think we're going to see a team step up soon. So it's gonna have to happen quickly for him to get into an organization and kind of like build himself back up. But I think May 1st is a really good line, and I'm just maybe I'm optimistic and hoping this happens. But I do think teams like the Rays or a team in that vicinity of payroll might step up and say, we'll take this 1 year, $33 million deal.
Yeah, because that could be the difference. I mean, let's remember they did trade Tyler Glass now in the offseason.
Right? Doesn't it make so much sense? Seriously.
It does. It does. I think that's actually a really good call on your part. I would be fascinated to see him go out to San Francisco. Bo Mel had some great things to say about Snell this past weekend, about what a terrific guy he is and a fantastic pitcher. He just wants what's best for Blake Snell. He can't talk specifically about him in a Giants uniform. You're never going to hear that. So May 1st, that's 6 weeks away. I do think I'm worried that we're going to get to opening day. He's not going to be signed. Look this way. I think that it'll happen. I know he just threw a 4-inning sim game the other day, and so there were people watching do that. That means that he could conceivably be ready by that May 1st timeline. But getting him in a new organization, having a good look at him, making sure you don't want to run him. I don't know, man. I'm going to say no. I'm just going to say no.
Okay.
And I think it sucks for the sport. I think it sucks that all the big-name NFL players are flying off the shelves, and we've got two of the better players that were available in the offseason, and they're not here. I think it's a joke. I think it's horseshit. I don't know where we went wrong, but it's bad.
Yeah, we had some talk earlier today about, maybe they wait until the end of the draft because then the qualifying offer doesn't mean anything.
Right.
But the draft's in July. Like, you can't wait that long.
Horrible.
So let's go. Team, step up. Rays, go get your guy.
Do you think that any of the reluctance has to do with this? There was a person on X, the Skipper's View, who put out the number of pitchers whose AAV is over 30 million. Here they are: Shohei, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Jacob deGrom, Garrett Cole, Patrick Corbin, and Steven Strasburg. What do all those guys have in common, except for one of them?
Hurt or not good?
Yeah, well, then they all have something in common if you're going to throw not good in there. Because Patrick Corbin's the only one who'll be throwing a pitch the first of the Major League season. Do you think any of that has to do with this?
Yeah, of course. I think teams are reluctant to spend a ton of money on one player. That's the way the game is going. Like, they want to get younger and younger and younger. So yeah, like I think there is that aspect where they want to get Blake and all of these pitchers. I mean, why don't we ever talk about Jordan Montgomery in these discussions?
Hey,
he never gets mentioned.
Listen, I told you I thought that the Snell contract was much more difficult to nail down than the Jordan Montgomery one. Jordan Montgomery has been a healthy body. He makes a start every 5 days. He is an ascending player, which means that he continues to get better and better and better each year. And then last year, he was a postseason MVP. That's the one to me that's more head-scratching than the Blake Snell. It's just Blake Snell gets the headlines because he's won 2 Cy Youngs.
Yeah, it's very – like, do you think Montgomery likes that he's just, like, out of the headlines right now? Probably. To answer your question, yes. The clubs are wanting to find value in pitchers, and maybe they're feeling like the value, we're paying for what's happened and maybe not for what's going to come. But the 1-year deal for a guy like Blake Snell, like, I think there should be teams lining up to take that.
I agree. I don't get it. So there you go. Skipper's View. Shout out to you. Good job. I am wearing a Cardinals hat. Here's why. They were busy this weekend. They extended their manager, Ali Marmol, for 2 years through the 2026 season. Rumor has it there were a lot of surprised people around Cardinals camp. How shocked are you?
Pretty shocked, I would say. They want stability there, and I don't. They didn't really have it last year. But here's the thing: if you hire a guy like Marmol and it doesn't work out, and then you fire him right away, what does that say about your ability to hire a new manager? And I think that's what we're kind of seeing here is the front office made this decision. And Katie Wu put a great article out about this in The Athletic. I don't want to, go all over it, but she mentions how the front office and Marmol have a very good relationship, which is exactly what this is what it's become nowadays in baseball. The manager has a front office relationship and then kind of deals with the players a little bit. So if Marmol is going to be like their guy that just kind of does what they say and doesn't question things, then like why not continue to sign him? He had one more year left on his deal. He would have been facing questions about it. If they think this is a guy that is going to be quote unquote their guy, I'm talking about the front office to Marmol, then yeah, it makes sense to sign him and just keep going that way. I think maybe some of the stuff, there were some big issues last year, Chris, and we talked about him extensively with O'Neill and Contreras. Like the way he handled things wasn't great. Can you grow from that? Sure. But maybe some of like the clubhouse stuff was overblown a little bit. Like, when you're around guys for that many days, like you figure things out. They tend to work themselves out. So I've said it once, I'll say it again. Like managers don't matter that much to players. Like it's nice to have a guy that you like and you want to go to battle for, but like you're going to battle for your family and the guys around you. Like your team means the most to you. So like, am I shocked? Sure, because it didn't work out last year, but at the same time, when you really start to break it down and what do managers do and what's expected of them, like not that shocked.
You just called him a puppet.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't think I said that once.
That's exactly what you said.
I didn't say that. Don't put words in my mouth. Strike that from the record.
Hold on. This is going to work in a court of law. I'm telling you, I'm going to nail your ass while you're on the stand, bro. You just said, well, the front office really likes it and it has a good relationship and he'll listen to them.
Okay.
And
okay. Katie, I'm going to take one sentence from your article. Okay. I have it right here. Quote, but throughout the 2023 season, Marmol continued to foster a good relationship with the front office.
Well, that's not exactly a puppet. There's a difference. I don't think Terry Francona was.
I didn't call him a puppet, first of all. Don't be putting words in my mouth.
But that's what it sounded like you were describing.
Oh, wow.
That's what it sounded like you were describing to me. Here's the deal. John Mozeliak, the quotes when they had their press conference talking about the extension. To go into the season with a lame duck manager just seemed to be the wrong strategy, given the fact with the roster we've assembled, we believe is going to be competitive. We just don't want something where if we stumbled or got off to a slow start, all of a sudden everybody's looking over their shoulders. It's just not fair to everybody involved. So that means that if they get off to a shitty start this year, that Oli Marmol is not on the hot seat because you just gave him a 2-year extension. Like we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar business, and we can't get rid of a guy who's going to cost maybe a couple $1 million. Like, do you really? To me, that I don't think they firmly believe in him. I really don't. And they're coming off their worst season in almost 3 decades. And yes, whether you say that he can learn from the Tyler O'Neill and the Wilson Contreras debacles, well, the fact is that those were front and center, and those are the things we're going to remember about the 2023 Cardinals season. I am shocked that they gave him this. I don't know if he's willing. Like, he's got Isaiah Thomas disease, the Pro Basketball Hall of Famer, who after his career, he continued to screw up at every job he made, but he continued to get promoted. So I call that continuing to fail upward. What did Oli Marmol do over the last 2 years to warrant this extension other than the fear of having people talk bad about him if they get off to a crappy start 1 month into the year? Tell me one thing.
I read you the sentence that tells you everything you need to know.
I know, but so here, you take that away from it. You just tell me what he did to earn a 2-year extension.
He was already the manager of the Cardinals.
That doesn't it? No.
That's. I mean, you're asking me to answer a question that doesn't have an answer.
It does have an answer. The answer is nothing. He did nothing.
I'm not going to just go, look, I do believe people can get better at their jobs. Okay, look,
I do.
I remember when I first started off, getting behind this microphone. I wasn't great at it. Now I'm the best to ever do it.
Ah!
So
yes, you are.
So look, dude, like guys can improve. The managers have just gone. There's been a change in the way we view managers and the way managers are viewed and what they're supposed to do. Managers nowadays show up, talk to the media. He wasn't great at that last year. Very defensive. Like when he'd bring out like the talking points to talk to the media, that was like so cringe to me, dude. Like you don't gotta sit up here and defend every single little move. You say, I made the moves, I'm sticking by him. That's it.
Dude.
Okay, like so he had like you have to be able to talk to the media. You have to have a good relationship with the front office, and you got to be able to relate somewhat to the players. He's only done one of those things really well.
If you were to have a managerial draft on this day of all 30 major league managers.
Oh, my gosh, stop.
Where's Marmol get drafted?
That's a loaded question. Bottom. Not like the bottom, I don't know. But like I wouldn't put him anywhere near the top.
He'd definitely be
and
bottom.
It depends. Who are you asking? Front offices or me?
I'm asking you.
Yeah, no, it would be lower third.
Probably even lower than that.
Yeah, I mean, like the some.
My point is, listen,
sucked.
I don't know Ollie Marmol, and this is not a personal attack. I'm just saying that he hasn't done anything. I mean, you can't go ask Cardinals fans. Like, are you 100% this guy leading your charge over the next 3 years? The answer is going to be no.
There's some quotes from some guys. Matt Carpenter has a quote about, like, we really trust him, and like, things got a little overblown on social media. Mikolas came to his defense, but also like that doesn't mean the entire clubhouse feels that way.
Right. Well, you're not going to be universal loved by your entire clubhouse. We get that.
Some managers are. Some the good ones are, Chris. The good ones are.
Okay. Hey, today's episode of Baseball Today is sponsored by our friends over at SeatGeek. If you have no idea what SeatGeek is, head on over your phone, download the app. It is the #1 rated ticketing app out there. More than 28 million downloads. They're a busy place because there's more than 70,000 events every single day available on SeatGeek. That includes sporting events, concerts, festivals, oh so much more. And they're always looking out for your best interest. They want to make sure you are getting the best deal possible. So when you're on the app, what you do is you look for the color-coded dots, okay? Green, that means you're getting the best deal possible. You might look at like an NBA game and say, well, hold on, the green dot's not on the floor. It doesn't have to be. It means it's the best deal possible. There might be a red dot next to the floor seats, and you might say, well, hold on, those are the best seats in the house. It's not the best deal for you. So SeatGeek doesn't want to just get your business in-house. They want to take care of you as well. On top of that, every ticket's backed by their buyer guarantee, and SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of time with swaps for future dates. And, of course, we're going to take good care of you. Use that code today, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. That is $20 off your first purchase. Promo code today. Just click on the link in the description. Off you go. You can buy tickets for the two of us. We'll sit next to you. It'll be a Green Dot Festival. We'll have the time of our lives. Was I as excited for that as I was for Factor? I hope so.
You did a great job because you also like being entertained, and SeatGeek helps us be entertained.
And you can eat food at a sporting event.
Yeah, and like the food that you like to eat.
That's right. I sneak in a Factor meal and I bring my own microwave with me. There's more talk about the Cardinals. This was fascinating, although I can't see whether or not it's really true. Now, Sonny Gray is banged up, Cards. He is not going to be available on opening day. That means Miles Mikolas will get the start against the Dodgers. The right-hander already fired one high and tight in LA's direction, telling Ben Frederickson of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, quote, "We're not exactly a low payroll team, but you got the Dodgers playing checkbook baseball. We're going to be the hardest working group of Midwestern farmers we can be. It would be great to stick it to the Dodgers." Is that fair or foul, that comment?
I don't care about this comment whatsoever, dude. Like, it's a silly comment because the Cardinals are no like small market team. In like actual or in payroll, they're I believe 12th or 11th, and the Dodgers are like 10th, or like they're just one ahead or one behind the Dodgers. Actual payroll, like with the Shohei deferred money into it, and like all the luxury taxes in, Cardinals are 12th, the Dodgers are 2. So like, I just don't think it's smart of any player to be like, man, like I really root for those teams that don't go out and sign free agents. Like, why would you ever want that? Like, how many players associating meetings have you been in, bro? Like, why would you say something like that? I get it. You're trying to like to hit your fan base there and like, yeah, man, we're the Midwest. And you ain't from the Midwest and you're rich as shit, dude. Like, come on. Like, it just didn't fit. Like, I know what he was trying to do. Like, he was trying to get people like fired up and like us against the world. The Dodgers are on this different level, but like they're really not. Like, you guys have a bunch of big name players, and it's been that way for a long time. The Cardinals are no small market team, bro. So I thought, to answer your question, foul ball, bro. Like, it's a silly comment. Like, and you're going to make silly comments from time to time. Chris, you get asked questions all the time. And sometimes, I mean, how many dumb things do I say on this show? Can't hold it against somebody. But if you're asking me right now, it's a foul comment just because there's really like not too much validity to it. And then it'd be different if there's a guy that, wasn't as rich as him, said it, like still fighting like this gritty ball player. You're also a starting pitcher. Don't get me started on being a Midwest farmer. Do you think farmers work once every 5 days, dude? They don't.
Sounds like this should be a show on Fox or something. Midwest farmers pitchers tries to find a wife.
Farmers would love to work once every 5 days. They work at 5 a.m., bro, like every day.
No days off for them. They're the Bill Belichick of farmers. Of the workforce. No days
Starting
off.
Pitchers just say some silly stuff,
man. Here's the thing. I can't judge it fully. I scoured everywhere to see if this was on camera, and I cannot find it anywhere. So if somebody does find it, send it to us, because I would love to see how it was said. The way the way it reads made it sound like it was kind of a joke, almost. Like, I would say he would have.
He's a joker, isn't he? He's the guy that ate the freaking lizard.
Yeah, exactly. That's who he is. He's got a big personality. You've got the Dodgers playing checkbook baseball. Like, it's different than, hey, man, you got the Dodgers playing checkbook baseball. So how it's delivered could have changed the interpretation a little bit. Now, I always hate it when guys talk about other people's money. I always hated it. It's the reason all the New York Giants back in the day, I know it's a different sport we're talking about, but in the football world, it's the reason all the teammates hated Tiki Barber at the time when Michael Strahan was having a contractual discussion with the Giants. He wouldn't show up for training camp, and Tiki's like, yo, bro, you got to get in here. Like, worry about the team. And everybody on the team looked at Tiki and was like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Shut your mouth. Let that dude take care of his money. He'll get in here when he needs to. Like, whenever we're talking about other players' money, it's stupid to have somebody else comment about it.
Dude, this guy has already made $85 million in his career with another 37 coming. Like, I don't want to hear you compare yourself to a Midwest farmer. I'm more of a Midwest farmer than you are. Think about that. Look at me and the silly stuff that I do, and I'm closer to that than you are.
How would you do as a farmer? I actually think you would do pretty well.
I grew up literally doing manual labor, so I could figure it out, okay? But, like, I would never compare myself to that. Chris, I am so far removed from that stuff, and you have to have some self-awareness a little bit. Like, my life is great. I don't have to go do that stuff. Whatever. I can't right now. I can't.
So we have to put Miles Mikolas in a pair of overalls with a flannel shirt and a hoe. The kind you use on the ground.
God, Chris. Just
damn, you're all fired up.
I'm fired up. It's the starting pitcher aspect that got me.
Are you more interested in the Dodgers Cardinals game because of this comment?
No.
Okay. Mets owner Steve Cohen met with the media on Sunday, covered a bunch of topics. First of all, he said Pete Alonso we'll see at the end of the year. I'm not worried about the contract situation, but, he might test free agency. I still feel good about that. He also talked about the farm system, which got revamped last year thanks to all the trades. Said we really have some studs down there. And then a reporter reminded Cohen about his introductory news conference in which he talked about winning a World Series in 3 to 5 years. Boss?
Well, as I'll say it, and I'll say it again, I said I'd be slightly disappointed, okay? So just let's clarify that, okay? But in the end, you got to set big goals. And otherwise, you don't set big goals, you're never going to get there.
Okay. What are we now? More than 3 years into this ownership. Where are the Mets right now? as a franchise? Are they underwhelming, or are they kind of like, oh, okay, yeah?
So he also talks about like the team that he inherited, like where the franchise was at when he bought it. I think and we've done this on this show too, and I've done it particularly. That opening press conference when he said those things, we said it was silly, and it was silly. Like he shouldn't have said that. Like he didn't understand the game of baseball, what it takes to win a World Series, and I think now he does. Take that quote out, and I think you'll have a different view of like the Mets and the tenure. I think this is like, if I had to say, like, it has the Steve Cohen era been underwhelming, I would say no. Like he's brought the payroll to places that it's never been before. He's done everything he can, and like there were some injuries that bit, and he turned those injuries into some really good prospects. I think he's done some really good things. He talks about the farm system. They brought those guys in. Keith Law still hasn't ranked 15th, but they're on their way up. In 20, I believe was it 2022, they won 101 games. Last year wasn't very good. Like, I think it's just kind of like an average, like they're figuring things out. Like, so without that quote, we would just be sitting here saying like, look, man, this guy's been trying some things and he's made some smart moves. Obviously we go back to that soundbite because it's so appetizing, and like, you just never really hear executives or ownership talk like that. So I would say it is where it needs to be, and bringing in David Stearns I think he has such a more like a firmer grasp on what it takes to own a team, and he's very involved in it. And I think you like that as an owner. He's talked to the media probably more than any other owners in the league, I would say. Like, so I like all the things that he's doing. So I don't know if it's been underwhelming. I think it's just been like par for the course, man. Like, it's just that quote that keeps following him around. You can see he's trying to like get away from it a little bit. But they're headed in the right direction, and it hasn't. And like last year's, record and the fact they haven't won, a World Series, that's not any fault of his own. He's poured so many resources into the organization. I think as a fan, you got to be like, you respect that, and it does seem like he's in this for the long haul. So if you have a guy that keeps pouring resources in and now has a better fundamental understanding of the way that organizations are built and organizations are built, brings in Stearns, like, I think you have to be happy. I know last year sucked. I know there's some impending free agency stuff, but like, I think you got to be stoked if you have an owner like this.
Hell yes. We just talked about where Ali Marmol goes in the managerial draft. Where's this guy go in the owner draft?
Pretty dang high.
Yeah, I mean, top 3 to 5.
Yes.
It's that simple. I mean, the guy spends a ton of money. Last year, I thought that he supported the right thing. They were so far out of it. He ate all that money on Verlander and Scherzer contracts just to get better prospects. We assume that every ownership group would do that. There is no way every ownership group would do that. No. So he has given his organization the best chance to be successful. Now, last year was a total failure on many levels. I'm not exactly sure where it went wrong and why it went wrong, but it did. And that was just one season after winning 100 games and winning the division until that last weekend in Atlanta. Like, they have given themselves every opportunity to be extremely competitive. I think this year listen, if they surprise a bunch of people and they are in it at the trade deadline, they're going to go get people. They're going to. I really believe in that, because I do think he really desperately wants to win, and he knows that even if they have a shot at just being a wild card, that they could ride the same wave that the Arizona Diamondbacks did last year all the way to the World Series. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be in. I don't think there's a single Mets fan who's like, oh, God, Stevie Cohen's really fucking this up. He's done an amazing job.
I mean, if the Guardians had Steve Cohen, I think you'd be
my God.
You'd be happier. I love the Pole lads in Minnesota. I'm not going to say anything about them.
Of course you're not. I get it. All right, some big news in terms of guys making teams, not making teams. Paul Skenes, he gets sent down to minor league camp by the Pirates. Jackson Merril sounds like according to John Paul Morosi, is going to be the opening day center fielder later this week when the Padres battle the Dodgers over in Korea. And then Bryce Elder, who was an all-star starter last year for the Atlanta Braves, he got demoted to AAA. Ronaldo Lopez is going to be the 5th starter in that rotation. Which of those 3 things really caught your eye the most?
I think it's Jackson Merril. I'll talk about him in a second. Skenes clearly wasn't ready. He clearly wasn't one of the top 26 players in the Pirates organization, right? He needs to work on some things.
Anyways, he has to work on his defense. Wasn't that the Chris Bryant quote?
There you go. Yeah, he's got go do some more PFPs in AAA there. It's Jackson Merril, and with 2 moves, I feel like the Padres are back into a lot of people's minds as NL wildcard contenders. The trade for Cease brings stability to a rotation. This guy's, started a bunch of games over the last 3 years. He's a workhorse, 2 years of control. Awesome. But then also, like, how much we talked about the Padres outfield, this offseason. So now Jackson Merril is like a very young guy, not a lot of time in the minor leagues, but like the people think this guy could be really good. I'd like to see him have this chance. If he is who they think he is, then you got a center fielder who's a stud. You got Tatis in right field, who's a platinum glove fucking outfielder, all-world bat guy. And then they're kind of rumored on Tommy Pham. He put Tommy Pham in left field. Now all of a sudden we're like, hey, this outfield, if Jackson Merril is who we think he is, or even kind of 80% of who we think he is, and can grow, like, now we're talking. The infield's set. The rotation got better. Like, Padres fans have to be so excited over the last month, like the roller coaster they've kind of been on. Like, they got beat up because they lost Hader, Snell, and Soto. And you felt like, maybe the chart was going down a little bit, but now it's right back there. They're not going to be better than the Dodgers in the regular season. I don't think they care about that. They're going to be in playoff contention. And a move like this signifies to your roster and your organization that, like, we're in it. Like, we're going after this thing. And I don't think that was the message just 2 weeks ago. So this is awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah, Jackson Merril to me is the most exciting. The Bryce Elder thing, I'll admit that I didn't pay close enough attention to what was going on there. I knew that when they signed Ronaldo Lopez, who's been a career reliever essentially ever since his early days as a big leaguer, they were like, yeah, he's going to get a shot at being the 5th starter. I was like, God, that doesn't sound right, because he's been so good out of the bullpen. But they followed it, and he's going to be the dude in that rotation now, with Chris Sale presumably healthy and Max Fried back. All of a sudden, Spencer Strider, I don't even think he's given up a run so far in spring training. Like, look out. Just buckle up for safety, because they are just going to take off for the next 6-7 months. But yeah, this Jackson Merril thing, I believe I read a tweet over the weekend that said he is going to be just the 3rd opening day center fielder in the last 50 years to start under the age of 21. And the other 2 are Ken Griffey Jr. and Andrew Jones. So that's pretty damn good company you're keeping. And by the way, I want to see if the Padres can field at some point this year an entire everyday lineup where your original position was shortstop, because they are getting closer and closer, because Jackson Merril is another one you want to throw into that group. So it's fun. I hope he does well. Even if he struggles, I hope they stick with him. I think it could do him some good to be around a bunch of those veteran presence.
Skenes, work on your fielding, bro.
Work
on your fielding.
Hey, keep trying, pal. You're going to make it one day. We believe in you. We believe in you. One other quick thing. The Dodgers and the Padres, they obviously get going this week. They play Wednesday and Thursday games at 6 a.m. Eastern, I believe, is first pitch. In the meantime, they've been playing a bunch of South Korean teams as exhibition games. The Dodgers had one over the weekend, and it was John Jong-so who threw out the first pitch, very famous actress over there. The Dodgers were giggling like middle school kids over there, because she is stunning, right? I mean, they would take shots of the Dodgers bench, and they're all like, she's hot. Like, if you're a big leaguer, don't you have to kind of disguise it a little bit?
No, I think it's okay to appreciate greatness and things, okay? Like, that's a very beautiful woman there. It's okay to do that. They weren't being inappropriate about it. I mean, and let me tell you this. If you're at the ballpark, no matter what level you're at, you add 2 points. Those are the rules. I didn't make the rules. So she went from a 10 to a 12. She's pitching on a mound, beautiful as ever. Like, I get why they're acting the way they were acting.
Yeah, we're going to have to ask Glass now in the next episode of the Rose Rotation what he was talking to Joe Flacco about over there on the bench. That was, listen, she's stunning. There's no question about it. She's gorgeous. And the guys are like, hee.
Now, Joe's McFly needs to chill out a little bit, okay?
Yeah, well, that's a different animal right there.
He is different.
He is different. We are back at it again on Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to be on after the Dodgers-Padres games, the first 2 games of the 2024 season, so we'll have complete breakdowns of those. Then next week, we're back to 5 days a week, and we're off and running. We cannot wait. Don't forget to get your factor question of the weekend by Wednesday night so we can use it on Thursday's show as well. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Wednesday on Baseball Today, presented to you by Factor.